How's it going, YouTube? Today we are talking Break Away. We're gonna break away along with Yawley Grubthorn, a fantastic streamer for the game of TEPPEN. So if you're looking for a stream, head over to Twitch, check out YawleyG. He is a great dude and plays the game in his own way, has his fun his own way, and he showcased this excellent breakaway deck in the TCS, the TEPPEN Community Series, sometime last month, and I've been a little slow to cover it, but you guys know I love me some breakaway. So here is the deck. This is the plan. We're talking about the deck. We'll go through some tips while going over a replay of Yawley's, and then we'll go over an updated version of the deck right at the end, try to keep things a little succinct. Basically, the whole goal of the deck is to utilize these really powerful memory cards, Faust and Nerscylla, and because memory is an on place, it's not when played, which means you can get activations off if they come back in from breakaway. So you got a little swap action going on, getting a lot of value, as well as the owl as well. So you're getting a lot of value in the late game, but you got to get to the late game. So that's why this deck has a lot of halts. You have a lot of quick actions, and either you spam memory to get those memory requirements. It's 4 for Faust and 4 and 7 for Nerscylla, or you're going with the halt. So in Yawley's version, we're going with the halt the game, slow it down, build up the AP, and then get tons of value with breakaway. I'll stop talking now. We got some tips from Yawley because I really needed it. I tried out the deck. It did not go well. So some tips from Yawley while we break down his replay, and then the updated version of the deck with the new supplemental cards after that.
All right, let's talk first things first. Mulligans, looking for some halts and maybe some quick cycle actions to get the party started, slow things down. So here, Yawley opted for 1 halt and then 2 frosts because we can follow them up. And that leads into one of the first pieces of advice is, I understand the game plan of this deck is to go late, get those memory effects, but sometimes it's hard to get there. And some of the key points is using your halts, making sure you have enough actions to get there, right? And so we got the halts here. We're going to be able to cycle the frosts. You got to make sure that you are using the frost. You got to assess the DPS output of these units. That is what Yawley recommends. So the frost definitely coming out here, and a nice steal actually gonna definitely change the momentum of this game. Playing 3 actions so far, so we're about to hit that 4 where Faust comes online, and then Nerscylla gets its power, and just changing the game up a little bit with that steal. Really was high impact. So this is a really interesting play here, in my opinion. Using the bounce really preemptively, not saving it for something potentially that will come down later. Just making sure that that stolen unit is going to stay alive, going to keep its agility, very importantly, and just going to threaten 4 damage in the face over and over again. And so this action right here is going to help get some stuff back. Definitely at the 4 to 5 memory zone right now. I'm gonna replay that, get our bounce back too. That's probably why Yawley was not too worried about using that, knowing that he'll just get it back in the EX pocket upcoming. And here's a card that I want to talk about because Jester, to me, felt a little bit odd, I'll be honest. Felt a little bit odd in this deck. But the purpose of Yawley's Jester in this deck is to help slow down the opponent with those flyers. And I'm not sure if we'll see that in this matchup. But use the flyers, slow down the opponent, and get to that powerful late game that we have been talking about. And while the MP builds up and things kind of play out here. I did want to mention that, ooh, a nice little bounce there. Good speed for sure by Yawley. But something I did want to talk about is Yawley brought this deck in as a tournament deck. And sometimes you bring tournament decks in for very specific reasons. So I was curious if that was the case. And Yawley had definitely mentioned that dual color is on the rise. And so he expected to see some Mirage Decoy, which is a great counter to the dual color decks. Just because it can bounce all their units pretty easily. And so this was his answer to that answer, a meta call. He's going another level deep. And there you go. You saw one of the other aspects of getting towards that late game is using Faust for lifesteal and then bouncing it back to the EX pocket. You know, we've got a lot of AP to work with, multiple activations coming up on the breakaway. So you can just bring it back. And Yawley mentions as well, you know, when you're looking into getting online with this deck, don't be afraid to take some damage because you do have, look at this, life gain. Boom, plus 6 HP, super valuable. And that kind of just offsets a lot of this damage that Yawley was taking earlier. And you know, so you, especially in this version of the deck, there's a lot of life gain. A little bit more, I would say, than the newer version. So you can be much more willing to just take a little bit of hits and heal it back. Don't be afraid to take some hits. And here we go with the Jester. Just building up the field. Another nice use is that those 2/4 flyers can now be used to swap something into the EX pocket. Unfortunately, we pulled a red one. That red unit that Yawley stole earlier in the game coming a little bit to bite him in the butt because that cannot be swapped in with Breakaway and would have been a lot more value. But it is what it is. Both players getting a little bit low on the MP. Definitely a little bit of risky business happening right now. But those flyers, just like Yawley had mentioned, definitely coming in clutch to slow down the opponent and build up even more AP. So one thing that I find really interesting is that Yawley's not just spamming. You know, he knows that he's in a good position, so he's not just spamming the breakaway hero art. He can kind of build up, and then once we see that owl, you can start slamming down owls like crazy. You bounce him back, play him again, bounce him back, play him again. You just got a never-ending onslaught of owls, which slows down the opponent, which they buff themselves, and a nice little board wipe coming out here from the opponent. We'll see what the play is from Yawley. We're just going to brainwash that. Are we going to start the owl shenanigans? We'll see what the game plan is. You've kind of hit that late game that I keep talking about with this deck, and whew, it is a strong late game indeed. So step 1, empty out the EX pocket so we can really start to go crazy. Step 2, begin the owls. Let the owls commence. So there you go, pulling back the original owl. And look at all the slow coming in on the opponent's side, giving Yawley plenty of time to recoup that MP, getting ready, boom, 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 to take another owl, potentially gain some life with Faust. There's just so many ways this could play out. Opponent playing a dangerous action here. What is the response? A halt. Could have been a brainwash, but brainwash would turn off our ability to owl. So we're halting there. Ooh, a nice, look at that life gain, bringing us back into the game. And then the life gain from Faust turns into another owl, which spawns another owl. It's just, it can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. And the slow of the owls negating things. Fate-defying Ryu coming in from the opponent, getting awoken or getting blazing walled, but there is a brainwash in hand, so that's a pretty easy steal if you ask me. Pretty easy steal if you ask me. But are we gonna even need it? That is the question. No, the flying will do it. And a well-played game by YawleyG showing off this breakaway deck.
Some excellent gameplay from Yawley. If you want to see more of that, he does have a YouTube channel where he uploaded his whole run for this TCS tournament. And there's several more games of Breakaway in action. Kind of shows you how his thought process goes through when he gets a bit of a bad hand, something he doesn't want to see. And also an insane game where he plays against Denjin. You gotta check that one out. I will link it in the description if I remember. But let's talk about the upgraded version of the deck, because one of the new supplemental cards takes a monster from your deck and puts it in your EX pocket. And that sounds pretty good for Breakaway. It happens that Nerscylla is also a monster. I would say with Yawley's performance and the new supplemental card, a lot of other people have been picking up Breakaway, making some improvements, and I saw this list Christy shared on the Discord for the updated Breakaway. So we got the Hall version, we got the memory spam version as well right here. A lot more one-cost actions. That's going to let you cycle and get that memory quickly without necessarily halting and slowing down your opponent. You're just trying to like spam, 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 spam. Get your memory, start breaking away. Start getting your memory going and whatnot. And of course, the new action fits right in there at a 1 MP and sets up your Nerscylla in the EX pocket for some amazing value on the original, your initial breakaways. So this is definitely the version to go with now, because the supplemental card, it changes everything. You know how YouTubers are, right? We'll go with the QR codes for both decks now. We got Yawley's version right now, and now we've got the new version. So I hope you enjoy them. Try them out. Maybe you can kind of fuse them. And as always, I hope you all have some fun learning a little bit here on the channel with me, Darian. And I'll see you around. Peace.